Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of SHENZHEN I. We finished the last episode in the middle of a cocktail mixer, which we're just going to dive back into now. And it looks like quite a mess, but there's a method to this madness. If you haven't watched the last episode, or if you've forgotten what was going on, I don't know, maybe go watch it. But it was kind of long, so if you've already seen it, here's a brief reminder. We're getting drink inputs over this XBus wire. This guy has 3 recipes inside of him. He makes the drink if he knows how, and he forwards the drink request onto this guy, who makes the drink if he knows how, and then forwards the drink request onto this guy, who makes the drink if he knows how, and then cleans up by turning off all the spouts. That's the idea, sort of daisy chaining these together. There's like a name for this pattern if you read one of those Gang of 4 programming books. I don't remember what it's called, Delegator or something or other? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. So this guy is making drinks 1, 4, and 5, which are vodka shot, Cape Cod, and vodka martini. We want the next guy to make drinks 2 and 3, since he can take advantage of the vodka being left on. Although not a lot of advantage, it must be said. This one he has to reset it anyway. So, alright, let's sleep X for X1, move X1 into ACK, test ACK for being 2. If so, it's a lemon drop, and we need to turn this on, which is to vodka and lemon, which is 101. Move 101 onto... Jesus Christ, what a mess. This wire, I guess, is the one that gets there. X0. And then sleep for 2, I think. And move just the vodka, which is 100, to X0. Sleep for 4. We're running out of space again. Oh shoot, he's gonna need to turn off the... Oh no, he isn't. Well, is he? Does he need to turn off this? I'm not sure. So 1, 4. So the cranberry might be left on, is the problem. So he might need to turn off the cranberry in order to make a lemon drop. No, he doesn't. Because if the input actually was 2, then this guy didn't turn on anything except the vodka. Okay, great. Whew. Alright, test equal ACK for 3 now. And we need to make a Cosmo, right? And this is at least relatively simple. We just need to touch the lime and cranberry down here. Turn that to 110. Move 110 to X2. Sleep for 2, I believe. Yes. Then turn it off, move 0 to X2. Sleep 2. And I think we now just move ACK to here, which is X3. Now we have 1 line of code left for cleanup, which we could put here if it would be helpful. So I'll leave that space blank. And we can use it for any cleanup if that turns out to be useful for this dude down here. But fortunately, I think his drinks are both pretty simple, because the 2 drinks he has left to make are these 2, and they're very similar. They both involve gin and one thing from here, either lime or vermouth, right? So I think that what we're gonna do is move x2 into ACK and test ACK, but we're not gonna do an equals test this time. We're gonna test whether it's less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whether it's less than 6, which means that we should not do anything. So we'll just, at this point, jump to cleanup. And our cleanup is move 0 to x1, move 0 to x0. Now here, we know that we need to make a thing with gin and something else. So we'll move 10 to x1, capital X. Mistakes were made. And then test equal, so that's turning on just the gin. And then test ACK whether it is exactly 6. If so, we will turn on the lime. Yeah, which is 100. Move 100 to x0. Otherwise, move the vermouth, which is 1, to x0, right? Vermouth is what we're making? Yes. Now in either case, we're going to sleep for 2, and then move a 0 to x0, and sleep for 4. I think we managed to squeeze that all in. Right? Yeah, these 2 drinks, it was convenient to have these 2 be the ones that were left over, because they were pretty easy to do. Alright. I honestly, I think like it should work. So everyone's sleeping, that's great. No, we're not. Why? Oh. Sleep X for X2. Fine. That solves that problem. So everyone's asleep until an input arrives. We wake up, it's 4, which is a drink we're responsible for making, so this should be exciting. Move it into ACK. Turn on the vodka. Alright, that succeeded, the vodka is on. Now we test ACK. Was it 1? No. Was it 4? Yes, it was. So we need to make a Cape Cod. So we now also turn on, hopefully, the cranberry. Yes. We sleep for 4. Now we say, was it 5? Of course not. We just move ACK to x0, saying, here you go, please make a Cape Cod. And this guy's like, man, I don't know how to make no dang Cape Cod. He just passes it along. This guy moves it to his accumulator, says, is it less than 6? Yeah, it is. It's a 4. So we'll just go clean it up. Turn off all of the drink outputs. Incredible. We did it. How about drink number 5? That one is also handled by this guy, so it should be basically the same, right? Yeah. Okay. Drink 6? Drink 6 goes over here. That should be fun. He doesn't do anything, but he did turn on the vodka just in case this guy needed it. Step. He doesn't need it either, though. He sends the drink along, or the request along. This guy says it's less than 6. No. Therefore, it must be something with gin in it. Turn on the gin instead of the vodka. Amazing. Move. Now we said, is it 6? Yes. That means it's a gimlet? Gimlet? I don't know. And therefore we need to turn on the lime instead of the vermouth. And then we sleep for long enough that we want to run out of lime. We wake up, we turn off the lime, and we sleep to let all the gin soak in. And then we clean everything up. It's amazing. I think we did it on the first try, guys. It was a long first try. And it turns out maybe I didn't need to end the last episode. Could have combined it with this one, but it would have been a long episode. I don't know. Interesting. A lot of folks did it with less code. And with less expensive parts. That's too bad. Wonder what we missed. I mean, what I have is clearly a mess, but I'm not sure how I could have done it better. You get cheaper parts and less code if you use ROMs, right? So, but I couldn't figure out how to encode the problem in terms of ROMs. I don't know. Is there some, like... None of these parts seem that useful. I still don't really know how to use an FPGA. Like, I understand more or less how they operate, but not how you should use one. Yeah, I don't know how you make this simpler. Actually, does this cleanup count against me? Get out of here. Let's run it again, see if that counts as less code or not. I don't know. Faster, please. No, it's the same, of course. Huh. Well, most people are doing it with like 15 fewer lines, or thereabout, maybe 10 fewer. That's pretty remarkable. So there's something about my design that is just rotten from the beginning. I'm not sure what. Don't know. I mean, I'm reasonably satisfied with this. I felt good about, like, I don't know. Not so great about how all the wiring came out. Like, I managed to wire it up, but it's clearly not elegant. As far as the solution of, like, cramming just enough into each chip, I feel pretty okay about that, right? Like, maybe, I guess the thing to do would be to figure out a way to handle more similar cocktails in a more similar way. Like, have this guy figure out whether he's active and, like, reuse some of the sleep instructions, since they kind of all want a bunch of vodka, and maybe we could figure out a way to put all those sleeps together, but I don't know. I don't see it. Huh. I'll be interested to see how someone else solves it. And if you guys solved it, like, I'd be happy to see, or if you know someone else who did, you know, like, send me a link to their YouTube. I'd look at it. Anyway, I guess that's enough dithering on this one to make the episode a palatable length. Alright, how do we do? What's everyone have to say? Hey, I want to say thanks for sticking with me when things weren't going so hot. I know I was struggling for a while there and came up with some really bad ideas that went nowhere. But I have a better handle on things now, and that's thanks to your willingness to be patient with me. So, yeah, I really appreciate that. If you wanted, maybe we could get dinner sometime. Disregard previous message, hit the wrong button again. What is this guy's deal? He's like... Huh. I don't know. I mean, seems nice, but also, like, whenever he accidentally sends out something heartfelt, he, like, takes it back. Strange. Okay, well, looks like we're done here. And there's still just the one puzzle left. Might be the last one. Might not be. Who knows? Very exciting. Oh, it's called the big one. Probably is the last one. And then, since that one looked like it was from Wu Lily, probably Sun Hao Tan is going to destroy the city or something horrible like that. Anyway, but that's all coming up in the next episode, of course. Sorry about the short episode this time, but I just wanted to make sure the last one didn't go for so crazy long. Hope you enjoyed it all the same. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Actually, just kidding. I'm back for a minute. I thought it would be fun to record a little epilogue here. Well, two things that are interesting. One, I may as well load up the puzzle here. One is, now that I've finished implementing this myself, I had a look around on Reddit to see how everybody else had managed to solve this when I thought that, like, figuring out how to wire this all together was just, like, super hard, and I had to been fairly clever in implementing the code. And so I learned one important assumption that I had, an incorrect assumption that I had made. I feel like I've said that a lot of times, but what is hurting me the most in this game is failing to recognize the assumptions that I'm making, and that gets in the way of figuring out, like, a solution that is not limited by my implicit assumptions. And so the first thing that I noticed, or, well, that a lot of people noticed that I did not notice, is how to do this with ROMs. I was thinking about, like, oh, okay, sure, ROMs. It sounds great. We just encode instructions. There's actually no place on the board. I can fit a ROM here, of course, I guess, whatever. There's no way to, like, you could encode the lists of instructions. You guys must have been shouting at me for the last two episodes, or at least some people were. But I was thinking, okay, you would need at least 3 ROMs to hold all of the stuff that you need to know, because each recipe has up to 3 ingredients. Sorry. There are 6 ingredients is a more clear way to start. And there are 7 recipes, so multiply those together is 42. And you need a number for each ingredient for each recipe to say how much of it there is in the recipe. So you need 3 ROMs. And from there, I was like, okay, well, you just, like, can't wire everything up to make this all work. And, like, even if you could, it's not clear how you would distribute the work among the microprocessors, because we don't fall across a ROM boundary for a given or a given recipe. It's just like a mess. And the assumption that I was making here is that in one ROM entry, you could only store information about 1 ingredient for 1 drink. But we have digits, right? So, like, we could implement, here's vodka shot. It's 300, 0. You have vodka on for 3, gin and lemon on for 0, and you have these guys on for 0 as well. And then, like, a lemon drop is like a 602 or something like that, followed by a 0. So, like, you can actually encode the information about a recipe in 2 ROM bits, not 6 ROM bits. And I maybe should have stopped for a minute to notice that, because isn't it convenient that there are exactly 7 instructions, right? Like, there's exactly 7 instructions available, and we have 14 of these. Is there any way we could squeeze it onto 1 chip? I could have asked. And then I'd say, well, that's a factor of 2. Interesting. Is there some way you could express a recipe in terms of 2 of these bytes? 2 of these numbers? And then maybe I would have gotten the digit thing. So some people definitely implemented it this way. with greater and lesser degrees of complexity. I don't plan to re-implement it, but I just wanted to mention that as a way we could have made this work. So, fine. That's thing one I wanted to mention in this episode. Thing two is I was thinking about my wiring. And, I mean, as you can see, it's excellent, super, no one could ever have done something better, right? No, of course that's not true. It's awful. It's a marvel of engineering in the sense that, like, oh, I wish I'd thought of a better analogy for this, but I didn't think of this sentence until right now, you know. No scripts, I don't have any writers, so... it's a marvel of engineering, kind of like, I don't know, I can't think of any good examples, but like, you see something that's like clearly a mess and you're like, wow, that actually works. I don't know, not HTTP. Like, HTTP is pretty good in terms of like things that work, but there's gotta be some network protocol that's just like, okay, routing and like network address translation. What, like, a disgusting mess of, like, special cases and all this, like, I don't know. It's amazing that the internet holds together at all on 4-byte IP addresses. I guess is a and sort of an oddly apt, since we're talking about the networking between components. Anyway, so I was thinking about this and why it wound up being so awful. And I realized that I think it was because I started with just, I want to connect each of these devices to here, to each of these devices, and like that wasn't too hard, so I did it. And then I realized, oh, I need these devices to sort of be able to connect to each other, and I tried to layer that on top of what I already had, and I didn't do so in a very disciplined way, and the result was understandably a mess. So what I want to do right now is, I thought about a better way to wire it, and I haven't tried it, but it seems like it ought to work. So what I want to do is just copy, do I even want, what I'm going to do is not copy the instructions. I'm going to go open up a new solution and just wire it up without actually copying in the code to demonstrate that I think it can be done much more simply. I don't know, maybe I'll end up copying the code later, but for now, I just wanted to show what I think would be easy to do with a simpler approach. So the thing is, we can sort of have, as we did before, like a shared bus. I say bus loosely here, we're not talking about X bus, although it does happen to be an X bus wire. But two wires that that each, wait, do I want it like that? I'm not sure. I want this to go up and then connect like this. Two wires as sort of a community resource, so to speak, that everyone has access to. I'm not sure why I think I need it up this high. I'm not sure. But if I just sort of run these along and pretend that they're like plumbing and I can't change them, I think the solution actually ends up being pretty simple. It's just like, connect these guys up like so. Yeah, I don't need this that high actually. Let's just wipe that out and do it sort of like this. And like doing it this way makes it clear that I probably could have afforded a number more chips than I actually had. So just line them up sort of in connected to each other like this, or in a, oh yeah, well, okay, I guess we could do it this way. Could we? No. Hang on. Maybe we need more space between them like this. That ought to be enough. Alright, so maybe it's not saving me as much space as I thought, but I think it is simplifying things. So the idea is to connect them to each other like this. in a regular fashion. And then the only question is how to... so each one has like the previous guy in this port, and the next guy in this port. This one has no next guy, so he's sort of special. And then just, it's not that hard to connect each one of them up to these two shared buses using one bridge. Actually, this guy has a bit of a rough time. He kind of has to go like that, because he doesn't have enough space on the left to route around. But he can do this, right? Maybe it's actually easier if he does that, and then this. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. And then we can just grab onto that one like so. And the other one, we just hop on a bridge. And over here, we need access to this one like so. Actually, we can't do it that way, can we? We need to bridge over here and then hop onto this one. See? Wiring is much simpler. I think, well, if you're gonna do it this way, you definitely need the two bridges, because you need two parts to be able to hop over the nearer wire. There's no way for them to get around it like this one did. So this is the same network topology as my other solution, but with a lot less wiring nonsense, and so we've got way more space up here if we ended up needing like one of these guys or something. We could squeeze one in, although there wouldn't really be anywhere to connect them to since all of our ports are used up. And I think the port numbers are different, so when we copy, let's go ahead and copy the code. Why not, right? So this is the guy who is our number 1. The port numbers are different, so we're going to have to edit things a little differently, right? X0 is this thing. X2 is, well, was the one with vodka. Is it now X1? The one that used to be X3 was the one not with vodka, and it's now wired up still to X3. All right, we can leave X3 alone. And then X1 is our forward, or X2 is our forwarding line. Yeah, so that was easy enough. Now let's go grab, menu navigation in the game here, but let's go grab our second thingy. Ah, come back. Here we go. Which one is our... We're receiving instructions over X1. How nice. Okay. And X0 is... It was the vodka line, but now it's the vermouth line. So instead of X0, we're going to have to use X3 here. And X2, I guess, was the vermouth line, but now it's the forwarding line. Vermouth is now on X3, so we'll swap X3 and X2. Okay. And last, let's go grab this guy's code. Pin is not connected, so right, we're X1 instead of X2. And we're moving a 10 onto the line with Jin, which is up here. It was on X1, but now is X0. And this other guy, the vermouth line, is X3 rather than X0. And we need to write to X0 and X3. So I think that this is basically a copy of our previous solution. Does it work at all? Yeah, it works great. I mistranslated one somewhere. Which ingredient was that was wrong? everything? What? Drink 3 is all messed up. Whose job is 3? This guy, right? Yeah. He moves 110 onto X3. That's here. Vodka and gin. Huh. Alright, well, let's put a breakpoint on drink 3 and see what happened. So we turn on the vodka and like nothing else, and we move on. Now this guy says move 100 to 110 to X3. That goes here, turning on vodka and gin, which is not what we want, is it? We wanted vodka and nothing. Why? Why did I make this wrong? Oh, these are the two we needed to turn on, right? Lime and cranberry. And that is on line X0. Okay, try again. Alright, there we go. One mistranscription, I suppose. Oh, look at all those bytes just zipping along these long exposed wires. They look nice. Cool. Okay. Same lines of code, production cost, all that, but it's a little bit more satisfying, I think. Alright. Now we're signing off for real. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.